2, 3. 3. 3. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1. All right, today is the day that everybody has been waiting for, I would think, especially if you're into professional cabinet coatings. This is the video that I've been prolonging to make because I just wanted to make sure all my information was correct. Because today we're comparing a new product, and we had to learn the product, and we wanted to give it a fair assessment and to compare it to a product that we've been using for a long time. So the products that I'm talking about is the Renner 851, the 2K, so with the catalyzed, versus Gallery Series from Sherwin-Williams. Now with the Gallery Series, to make this more of a fair comparison, we did use the crosslinker on it. And I know, a lot of people have been asking me online about, the crosslinker. They didn't even know they made a crosslinker, where to get it, because some locations either aren't stocking it or they're not really talking about it. And I don't know why. We'll leave that up to Sherwin-Williams to explain that. But we use the crosslinker because we want it to be is best apples to apples comparison. So we didn't shoot it as a 1K, we shot it as a 2K. For the primer, this is another thing with the Gallery Series that, initially in the early stages, I couldn't really get a clear answer on when it first came out, when they first started talking about it, which primer to use. Now that the data sheet's out from Sherwin-Williams, it's recommending Extreme Bond primer, and that's what we used. That's what we used on this sample. So for the Renner, we used their 643 2K primer. We catalyzed the primer as well. Obviously, with the Extreme Bond, there is no catalyzer. So it's just an Extreme Bond right out of the bucket. So both of these are sprayed. They're sprayed in our spray booth. They're both sprayed with a 1.4 tip. And both sprayed in the same fashion. So I'm really excited to compare these two for everybody. And before we start destroying these two samples, I want to talk a little bit about the product. So this is the Gallery Series from Sherwin-Williams. Some of you have, probably been trying to get some more information on it, looking up different things, or probably already started testing it on your own. This is what it looks like from the store. And this is the crosslinker. So the crosslinker, at least when I got the crosslinker from our local Sherwin-Williams store, it's still labeled Sayerlac. And for those that don't know, the Gallery Series, or Sherwin-Williams purchased Sayerlac. It seems to me, and I don't know this for certain, but the Gallery Series is a rebranded Sayerlac. The products seem very similar. We never used a whole lot of Sayerlac in the past, mainly because of accessibility. There was nowhere to buy it. So when Sherwin-Williams acquired Sayerlac, that's suddenly they came out with Gallery Series. So we're left to assume it's the same thing. I don't know that for certain, but just from the packaging on the crosslinker, it says Sayerlac on it. And for those of the professional cabinet painters out there, how finicky crosslinkers and catalyzers and all that can be. If you're mixing them with the wrong products, everything just goes haywire if you mess that process up. So I can't imagine that the Gallery Series, mixing with the Sayerlac, I can't imagine that the Gallery Series is that different from the original Sayerlac, which is not a bad thing, let me tell you. All right, so our next product that we're comparing to, an old favorite, the Renner 2K. So this is the 851 and the catalyzer / hardener, whatever you want to call it. Now there is a bit of a difference between catalyzers and crosslinkers, which this is a crosslinker. And as far as all the detail specs on it, I am definitely not the expert to tell you what the difference is and how each molecule boxes and chemically reacts to one another. There's people that know way way more about the chemistry about those kind of products than I do. So I'm not even going to attempt to explain that to you. All right. So that's it for that. So what we're going to be testing today with the Gallery Series, and I wrote in Sharpie on each one. So let's start off with the finish. It's really hard on these kind of sprayed finishes. When the finish is this smooth, it's next to impossible to show you on camera the difference in the finish. And obviously can't show you how they feel. But as far as the Renner goes, I mean, when you spray Renner correctly, when you mix all your catalyzers correctly, Renner lays out great. It's a great hard coating, holds up to fingernails great. That's why we love it. That's why we use it. Now, for those of you that, with Renner, in a lot of 2K products, they can be kind of finicky to use. So if your ratios are wrong, if you're trying to spray in different temperatures, if the water that you're adding to your paint to thin it, make it level out depending on the temperature, at times, especially starting off, it can kind of feel like a science experiment that sometimes goes right, sometimes goes wrong, and it can be really hard to know why it goes right and why it goes wrong. So that's why when people ask about using Renner as a 2K at home or on DIY projects, I don't recommend it. And the same goes for the Gallery Series. They're finicky. They need to be used in a specific way every single time. They need to run through equipment that is meticulously cleaned after every single use case, especially when you're using a catalyzer. Because if you don't fully clean out your gun after spraying a catalyzed paint, and you leave paint in there, and we're talking like a lot of paint, you might as well throw that gun away because it just turns into a rock. And then if you're leaving little bits and pieces of paint in there and you're not fully cleaning it, with those little bits and pieces, the next project that you go through, you'll start seeing contamination in your paint the following project. So. I'm really speaking to professionals here. Make sure every time that you paint, you are cleaning your gun meticulously. And it saves you, it takes a little bit longer, but I promise you on that next project, it saves you so much time. So not going to harp on that. But as far as finish goes with these two products, they are slightly different. Neither one of them are bad. They're both great. And if they weren't side by side, nobody would be able to tell the difference. We sent both of these around the office through our whole cabinet shop. And obviously these are two different size boards. But our other Gallery Series is on a similar size board. So we were sending, this one's been on my desk for the past I guess probably 2 months, just trying to see how it wears. I've been kind of putting it in and out of cars, just putting wear to it, taking it to clients' houses, throwing stuff on top of it, and it's held up great. But as far as the finish goes, as far as how it feels with your fingernails, when we were passing these around to our different team members and different professionals, and I was asking them to identify which one was the Gallery Series, which one was the Renner. Honestly, I'd probably say about 80% of the time, people could not tell the difference between the Gallery Series and the Renner as far as the pressure or as far as the finish goes. So, I wasn't letting anybody scratch at it. We actually haven't done that yet either. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to find out together how each of these holds up and, to which chemical resistance, everything. So today we are going to destroy these two sample pieces in the name of science, in the name of, which coating is the best, which one should you be using in your shop, which one should you be putting on your clients' kitchen cabinets. So first off, what we're going to do, I'm going to bring this camera in so you can get a top-down view. Let me make sure this is set up real quick. So for the first test, also to mention, both of these coatings are KMCA certified cabinet coatings. All right, so let's start our first test. Brought in the GoPro for a little top-down action. So what we're going to do is I did this before I started filming. In case I cut myself, I didn't want y'all to watch me bleed out and go to the hospital and get stitches. Fortunately, no cuts. So what we're going to do, I cut down, these are all HDF boards. Both of them are HDF boards. I cut down to the HDF in a grid pattern. So now we're going to put a piece of tape on it and peel it away. And what we're checking is how well this bonds to the surface that you're painting, in this case, HDF. This sure tape is sticky. All right, making sure we're pressing it down hard. Go ahead and get this one for the Renner. Oh, good grief. Okay. Make sure it's even and smooth across that grid pattern. This one down. All right. Test number one. We'll start with the Renner. All right, it's just like pulling off a Band-Aid, right? All right, after that, there is no pull off from the Renner. All right. So what that tells us is the Renner bonds extremely hard, extremely well to the surface that's being painted. All right, let's do the same with the Gallery Series. 1, 2, 3. Now the Gallery Series, and we're splitting hairs here. We have none of the full squares peeled off, maybe a little bit around some of the edges where it went down, and it bonded to the primer bonded to the HDF. So we're not seeing any raw wood. There's a couple spots where you see that the Gallery Series kind of let go around some of the edges. But I tell you what, that's when doing this test, that's not typically how you see. When you see a failure in this test, you usually see raw material. You see the wood behind it, like everything kind of lets go. So the Gallery Series, honestly, it did a lot better than I thought it would. Let's take a closer look at the Renner. Yep, not seeing anything that can go on the Renner. So, all right. I'll tell you what, just out of curiosity, and so there's the back side of the tape for the Renner, or I mean not the Renner, for the Gallery Series. Out of curiosity, let's do that test again. I've actually never done it back to back. Great, stuff's so sticky. I tell you what, that is a big plus for the Gallery Series. All right, let's hit the Renner again. See how it does. Yep, still nothing on the back of the tape for the Renner. All right, the Gallery Series. Yeah, see, it's coming off a little bit on the Gallery Series. So not full squares, but it's grabbing the edges from those cuts. Take that. Yeah, nothing from the Renner. I'll try it again on the Gallery Series. See more pull away on the Gallery Series there. So now Renner has always excelled at this test. It holds up, it just bonds so strong. But the Gallery Series, if we're calling Renner at this test, if we're calling Renner great, I tell you what, the Gallery Series in this test is very good. It had a good result in it. Is it better than Renner in this test? I would say no, because like we saw, going over each of them multiple times. Every time we went over the Gallery Series, we got a little more paint, little more paint, little more paint, and then with the Renner, we never got anything. Nothing ever came off. Ever. I mean, you can look at it as a close-up of it. It's still intact. Hopefully you can see it on the Gallery Series. How just some of those edges you can see down to the primer. So with the Gallery Series, we may, or not necessarily us, but Sherwin-Williams exploring different primer options. If we have a primer that's grabbing harder, that's definitely going to improve the Gallery Series in this specific test. So what we're going to do next, we're going to go to chemical resistance. A big one that I like to do for this test is acetone. The thing with acetone, especially like on bathroom cabinets, fingernail polish remover, it's primarily acetone. So acetone is a great test to see, the overall chemical resistance of a paint. So that's what we're going to try next and see how each of these do. And what we're going to do on this test as well, we're going to take it to an unreasonable level of acetone exposure. We're not going to drop it on and then just kind of dab it up. We're going to scrub it in. And we're going to be putting the effort that it would take to try and remove paint with the acetone. So, all right. Got the acetone right here. Use some of our lint-free rags. Let's see if I can get through the child-proof locks real quick. There we go. All right, so we're going to start with the acetone on the Renner first. All right, bring in our camera again. All right, so I'm going to do it right here next to the cross-linking grid. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so the acetone scrubbing has brought off, quite a bit of paint on the Renner, scrubbing at it. And if you look and see, hopefully you can see it made just like a big cloudy mark right through there. So that's at like a medium pressure scrubbing. That's at about 10 seconds, what I counted. So, all right, what I'll do now, let's do light pressure. Let me find a spot somewhere. All right, we'll do it right here, right underneath the grid portion. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. A little, some paint came off on it, not as much. But when you look at it, you can, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there is some buffing marks on it. And you can see where some of that paint started coming off there. All right. Now for the Gallery Series, I tell you what. Well, we'll just use we'll use the same side of this rag. No, I'm going to use a new rag just to make sure everything's fair and even. Need to close the acetone. No. I need some of it, then I'll close it. All right, same spot, medium pressure, 10 seconds. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. Chemical resistance with the acetone. There's just a little bit of paint on there. There is not much paint coming off. You can definitely see it looks like it was buffed for sure. The finish is definitely damaged. However, that's a medium pressure with acetone. Yeah, that was a really great result with for the Gallery Series there. It held up great to that acetone with medium pressure for scrubbing for 10 seconds. All right, so now we're going to go light pressure right below it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I don't see any paint that time, and very little. Yeah, after we clean the acetone, yeah, I cannot tell where that acetone was with the light pressure. The medium pressure, I definitely can, like at an angle. I can't see it head on. Yeah, when you play with it in the light, you can see the medium pressure, but when you play with it in the light for the light pressure, can't see anything happen. All right, for the Renner with the light pressure, you can see it, plain as day. The Renner with the medium pressure for 10 seconds, you can definitely see that. Yeah, any angle you're at. The sheen from the medium pressure is completely gone and like evenly gone. Light pressure, you can see it as well. Medium pressure on the Gallery Series, yeah, it just looks like some of the sheen's gone, but not in as large of an area. In the light pressure, you can't see anything. So, Gallery Series with the win on the acetone test. Whew, I'm glad the acetone test is over with. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. So far, the Gallery Series with up against acetone in the chemical test is winning. All right, so next what we're going to do, I'm going to grab 2 more rags. I'll be right back. And then we're going to do denatured alcohol. All right, guys, for our next test, went and got 2 new rags for it. We are going to be testing it with denatured alcohol. Again, struggling with the child-proof caps. So with denatured alcohol, typically it's how you test latex trim. With latex paint, denatured alcohol, when you rub at it, kind of like what we saw with the acetone on the Renner, it will start to remove. So with the denatured alcohol, This is a really harsh test to do on cabinets, but we'll find out and see how it does. So we'll start off again with the Renner. So we'll move acetone out of the way for the time being. And then we are going to put this, we'll do it right here, right in that section there, right below the medium pressure acetone. So I would do the same thing, 10 seconds, medium pressure. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And our paint started coming up, similar to the acetone, maybe probably a little bit more with the denatured alcohol. And kind of made a similar swirl mark. I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not. Similar swirl mark to the acetone. So right next to it, so in this area here now, we're going to do light pressure for 10 seconds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, obviously much less paint coming off on that one. All right, you can definitely see where we were scrubbing. Hopefully that's coming through on the camera. So Renner 851 and the 2K. So let's move on to the Gallery Series. Let's see how it does with the denatured. There we go. All right, so same spot. Going to do it right there. Medium pressure, 10 seconds. 8, 9, 10. Look at that. I can't see any paint on there with the denatured alcohol. Kind of slightly see, I highly doubt you can see this on camera. Yeah, I barely see a little buff spot, barely. If that happened on your bathroom cabinet somewhere, I don't know why you'd be getting denatured alcohol in your cabinets, but if it happened, and you rub it hard for 10 seconds, nothing's going to happen. So, or very little, nobody's going to notice. So let's go to light pressure right here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what I thought. No paint there. Wipe that off. Yeah, nothing happened. Look at that. So far, the Renner, as far as bonding to the surface, it's the winner. It is extremely good at bonding hard to the surface that you put it on. So, and what that means is it's going to be less likely to chip. It's going to be less likely to peel. However, when it comes to, let me close this, start going cross-eyed here in a second. However, when it comes to chemical resistance, Gallery Series. So, and that's not to say that Gallery Series, if you put it on your cabinets, and again, this is with the crosslinker. You know, all these chemical resistance, all this is with the crosslinker. So we may not get the same results with shooting it as a 1K without the crosslinker. So it doesn't mean that the Gallery Series, if you put it on there, it's necessarily going to peel or it's not bonding well. It is bonding well, but it's not bonding as good as a Renner. It's not grabbing as hard as a Renner. And I think the reason for that is they don't have a dedicated primer that is designed and formulated to work with the Gallery Series. Because the Extreme Bond did not come off at all. We're not seeing any raw material when we peel it off, we're seeing primer. So what that tells me is the paint itself and the primer aren't grabbing as hard as they need to be. Aren't grabbing as hard as they need to be. All right, guys, and for our last test, what we're going to do, we're going to hit it with a little hammer. This isn't my framing hammer. This is my hanging pictures hammer. So what we're going to do, let's see if I can bring this over just a little bit. I'm going to bring it up to the same height, hit it, try and hit them both in the same spot. And what we're going to test is basically the hardness of this. I expect both of these to dent, but we're going to see if the paint tears away or if the paint just dents with it. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to test. I'm really testing the impact resistance of each paint. So again, we will start with the Renner. Hit it in the same spot. We'll bring it up to, let's get something measurable. So we make sure we hit them both in the same spot. Well, right there. I can do this multiple times. Clean this off. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, little dent right there. See if you can see that. I dented it right there. So I mean that's a pretty big impact. I'm going to run another one from a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. All right. A couple little impact marks right there. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it's focusing. So that's Renner's impact resistance. And I also have something over here that's a little bit heavier, a little bit sharper on the end as well that we'll do here in just a second after this test. All right, so we'll start about right there for the first one. 3, 2, 1. All right, pretty similar on the little bit lower impact. You can see it right there. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if, especially on white, it can be kind of, the camera can struggle to pick it up. So a little bit higher. 3, 2, 1. I'll put that one right on my writing. Yeah, it hit the N on the writing, so. All right, we'll try that again. 3, 2, 1. It's going to hit it there again. All right, 3, 2. All right, that's the same height. 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right, impact resistance. Wow, you know what? That one didn't even leave a mark. This table wasn't level. Okay, let's try that one more time because I tell you what, that didn't even leave a mark on the Gallery Series, what we're testing right now. All right, 3, 2, 1. There we go. That was a good hit. All right. So as far as impact resistance, the paint didn't split, held up good. If you can see that, that's where it was. That's where it hit. And just kind of a hammer mark right there. All right, let's get something a little bit heavier, a little bit higher up. So now we're getting into territory now of something you'll never see on, hopefully your kitchen cabinets will never see such a strike as this one. Something heavy, and then also a sharp edge. I mean, it's not razor sharp, but it's a solid 90-degree edge. So I'm going to bring it up just above the GoPro camera here. So let me make sure we go to a fresh spot. Okay. All right, it's the same height. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, that's a pretty good impact there. But the paint did not it did not cut through the paint. It held up to the impact. We'll do another one. We'll go, the last one was there. We'll go to right here. Let's see how this does. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see what we got. All right, same thing. It looks like it landed right there. Hopefully you can see that. And just like a little semicircle, not much damage. It's pretty impressive. Great impact resistance out of the Renner. All right, so let's try the Gallery Series. So this was our first height. Let's find a spot that, all right, kind of on that outside edge right there. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, and the impact resistant on that one, again, did not crack the paint, that's impact resistance. It's great. Held up good. All right, so we're going to go higher, hopefully, and put it under the camera so you can see it. Hit right there. Okay, next spot, let's shoot for like right here. All right, from higher up. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see what we got. Again, no, the paint did not crack. The paint held up on the Gallery Series. If you can see it, is right there. I know it's probably going to be hard to see, but right there is where it impacted. All right. So through all these tests, what do we got? What's the conclusion? I tell you what, what I like about seeing in these tests is they have different use cases. What is your client needing for their kitchen or for their bathroom? I would say Gallery Series from Sherwin-Williams, welcome to the party. I mean, it is with the crosslinker, and again, we haven't used this as a 1K, but I would say welcome to the KMCA cabinet coating. Welcome to the party. Great job on this. This was a great pickup from Saylac. This is a fantastic product. As far as bond, I would say which would make this, really, really good at the very top of the list is figuring out a dedicated primer for the Gallery Series, because once you have a full cabinet system with the primer, this little bit of a pull off, I think you can fix that. I think you can fix that in the primer. The chemical resistance, it's better than Renner's as far as chemical resistance goes. As far as the Renner goes, the way that bonds in the Renner's primer, their whole catalog system, it's better than the Gallery Series. Where the Renner 851 fell apart in these tests is with its chemical resistance. I mean, as you remember, the acetone removed quite a bit of paint from the Renner. The denatured alcohol removed quite a bit, not as much as the acetone, but removed. Remember the denatured alcohol in the Gallery Series didn't really do anything to it. So that chemical resistance using Gallery Series in the bathroom, where it's highest potential for running into, acetone or, some kind of chemicals or like laundry rooms or something. I think Gallery Series, it would be a great use case for that. As far as impact resistance, what we saw is, they both, neither one of the paints cracked, neither one of the paints, really failed. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They dented, and they stayed bonded with the surface. So, I mean, as far as like which one should you be looking at and going to for your project, I think this is a great outcome because they both have different use cases. Where Renner shines over Gallery Series is a specific use case. Where Gallery Series shines over Renner is a specific use case. So I think both. At the end of the day, If one of these were on my kitchen cabinets, I would be extremely happy with both. So if Gallery Series figures out a way, and I'm sure Sherwin-Williams or Sayolak's working on it, to create a full system with their primers, I think Gallery Series is really going to start moving to the big dog on top of the pyramid. Yeah, really impressed with Gallery Series. I was really excited to do this test. I know a bunch of people have been asking about Gallery Series because it came out towards the later half of last year, midpoint last year, and we were just busy and didn't really have enough information on Gallery Series to really give a fair evaluation on it. But yeah, if you're going Gallery Series on your kitchen from a professional standpoint, I, again, do not recommend this for the DIYer. But if you're thinking about running this system or starting to offer this system in your cabinet shop, I think you're going to be extremely happy with the results you get out of Gallery Series with using the crosslinker. Again, not the 1K. 1K may be fine, may do the exact same thing. We just haven't tested it. So yeah, I would recommend starting to work this into your system, into your kitchens, and do some samples and see how it works through your system. So pretty excited to do this for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm seeing all this information for the first time, just like you are. So if you like this information, make sure to hit that like button on your way out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out a lot on YouTube. And if you want to see us test, a different cabinet coating or a different paint, or test whatever kind of painting related, whatever you got, put it in the comments below, and we'll do our best to make a video about that. But guys, until next time, talk to you later. See ya. 2, 3. 3. 3. 3, 2, 1. 2, 1.